This is Toe to Toe podcast number 64. Welcome back to another episode of Toe to Toe. What's up, Mertlin?
Hey, Monica.
How you been?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Hey, you've been traveling lately.
Yeah, of course.
How was it?
Always.
Where were you? Tell us about it.
Was in Istanbul, Turkey, and I can't get that song out of my head.
What song?
Istanbul, not Constantinople or whatever, however it goes.
I
That's the only part I know.
Let's stick to the podcasting.
I'm a terrible singer. Yes. Okay.
I've heard incredible things about Istanbul.
It's gorgeous. You should go.
To visit. Yes.
Put it on your list.
That's cool. All right, guys, thanks for joining us for another episode of Toe to Toe. Today, Jen and I are going to duke it out over this question. Do we really need attorneys involved in the sale along with realtors? Do we need both? Why do we have them? What's going on here? You know, Jen wants to blow up the whole damn thing. So I'm assuming this is part of the dynamite
the agenda.
Yeah, right. Is this part of it?
Yeah, of course it is. Everything is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. So where do you fall down on this?
Well, I mean, we're neither one of the states that we work in our attorney states. So right. This is just more off of like talking with other agents and kind of getting their perception of like, what do the attorneys do? Because we have a lot of states that are attorney states.
Yeah, I realize that. And so let's clarify for everybody, you know, for instance, here you hire a title company to do the title search and to actually close. And I believe that all of those title companies are headed by an attorney, correct? That's the gist.
I'm not sure. I mean, if they're not, then they have one usually there, but I don't know that it's required.
Okay, but that's the theory, is that's who is, maybe they have somebody working for them and closing the deals, but the attorney is sort of the one kind of overseeing this in theory, correct?
Right, I think, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, I just wanted to know though, because you have that title company issue then into, like, you have 3 different layers there.
It's so much, but I mean, but for this case though, the attorney, not the title. Like, I think every state has title stuff, okay. But in this case, we're talking about like, there's an attorney that's not the title company, and there's a realtor, but the attorney and the realtor, they kind of, like, their attorneys are doing what agents in non-attorney states do. For example, if you have an inspection, if your buyer client has an inspection request that they want to deliver and request of the seller, in non-attorney states, the realtor just draws it up and basically says, like, fix these things, see the report. Right. And we talked about that. Do you send the whole report, not send it, whatever, it doesn't matter. So it's like basically fix these things according to how it was written by the inspector, who is the licensed party.
Yeah.
But in an attorney state, the attorney will do that. What a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Why do you have to wait for the attorney to gather the data, draft the thing, send it on? That just seems...
It just makes it more complicated. They'll also, like, if you, when you send a contract, they'll like review it. And it's like, but it's already been reviewed by an attorney. It's a standard contract. Like, there's nothing in it.
Correct. Yeah, that's the whole point of the contract, right? It's been reviewed by attorneys. It's approved by the board.
Right.
All we do is execute on it.
It's fine. So I feel like having an attorney is just like an extra. Now, look, I could be totally wrong here. Just is based on what I know, but it feels like it's an extra layer that takes more time. It costs more money, and I'm unclear as to the value.
So the only argument I could see for it is, you know, really, when you are buying a home, hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases, millions of dollars, can you be too careful? So what's the harm in having an extra set of eyes? You know, we as agents, we are not licensed. We are not, attorneys, and we cannot act in such. We can't make recommendations on drafting contracts, whatever. So
right, but we're not drafting the contract.
Correct.
And we're not making up the repairs. The repairs were from a licensed party, the inspector, right? Or like, I don't know. I just don't think there's anything. I guess somebody could argue like maybe an addendum. Like, what if you had to do an addendum? But there are like there is language at the board.
Do you think that, do you run into in enough of your deals, do you run into a spot where you feel like you're crossing the line and you can't do that in giving legal advice? How often do you run up against that where you're like, ooh, I better step back from here? That's legal advice.
Well, no, if it's legal advice, then I tell them, I'm not an attorney. Like, you need to ask your attorney,
Right.
and that's it. And
How
that can
often does that happen?
happen, but that doesn't happen that often.
Right. That's
So
what
I
I'm.
can, yeah. And I can see, like, in some of our podcasts that we've done, people have commented, like, well, they wouldn't really address it. They would go through the attorney. Like, if there's a problem with the other agent or there's a problem with the buyer or whatever. But that just seems like all that stuff, we end up as agents in non-attorney states just working it out and having conversations about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Do you feel like if you have an attorney involved and a real estate agent that you're just covering the basis?
No, I feel like it's overkill. It's
Overkill.
ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, what are they changing? They've got to be having like boilerplate stuff. And it's just taking so much more time.
They're stamping it. They're giving it their stamp of approval.
But it's already been stamped. You could make it so it's been stamped. I mean, these are in non-attorney states, they're standard contracts.
Yeah.
Like, we have a standard one for occupancy before closing. We have standards for, occupancy from the seller after closing. Like, they're all boilerplate already by attorneys. You have to have literacy and read it and fill it out.
There
right?
she is. Yes, you must be able to read.
Right. I mean, it's just not that hard. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I just I guess I err on the side of caution in some way that and we don't have that here. You're right. So are there times that it'd be nice to have an additional trusted resource for the client as you go through and navigate these waters? I think in a lot of cases that would be good.
Oh God, attorneys just like.
Yeah, I agree if they're getting in on the basic stuff. Why do they need to review a freaking inspection addendum? Correct.
Right.
Have one on the team, so to speak, like
Sure.
the team of resources. I don't know that that's a bad idea.
No, I mean, and then like in the non-attorney states, like we have attorneys that we work with, right? So like if there truly is an issue that requires an attorney and the client doesn't have one, it's like, here's a couple that we've dealt with in the past. You might want to call them and talk to them. Or if it is a title issue, to your point, it's like, well, then we need to call the title attorney. Like, what do they say? Because there's stuff we don't know. We're just agents, right? Like, we know how to help people buy and sell houses, but we don't know all the other stuff.
Right. How do you know enough about how does that attorney get selected through the process?
I don't know. I think it's by the buyers.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think the sellers can have one too. Just like a title company.
Yeah. Got it.
The buyer and the seller can both have their own.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'd love to hear from our listeners on this. If you're listening, make a comment below wherever you're listening to this. Make a comment if you are in an attorney state and how that is working for you and what your feeling is.
Well, like, yeah, what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, right.
Or especially if you're either worked in one or didn't, and now you do, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you've worked on both sides of the fence here. That'd be cool. Absolutely.
I mean, we have, oftentimes the closer is the attorney. And we have that here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, but they're not like an attorney that would draw up an addendum, or if we had like a problem that was outside a title, we couldn't really call them.
Yeah, correct. No, you're right.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, shall we go back to our corners?
Yeah, I need to sit and think about this one for a minute.
I need to experience it, I think.
I think I do too.
I'd be so aggravated, but whatever.
Exactly.
Let's take a short break, hear a word from our sponsor, and when we return, we'll have the final punches.
All right. Welcome back. Now, Jen, did you talk to anybody that is outside of this ring about this?
Yes, I spoke with some agents that are in an attorney state, so you'll have to hear what they say after that.
I think that will be a really interesting aspect of this particular episode to hear that for sure.
I agree. All right, Monica, I feel like we agreed on this. So do you want to wrap up our final thought?
Without knowing all the particulars, my feeling is this: while it may inconvenience me and the process at some time, I just think that the more qualified eyes involved on a contract, with a contract, in a contract, about a contract, the better for the buyer or the seller. This is a major, major undertaking, and we can't be inconvenienced, at the expense of being safe for them. So,
Well, I guess though, I think so. I am going to disagree and do my 1 minute. I mean, I agree. Like, I think if it's just a matter of convenience, of course, right? Anybody can have an attorney look at it. Anybody can have their own title company. Like, you have to do what you think is best as the client, or do what your clients think is best. But I think at some point there's diminishing returns and there's overkill. So like contracts that are 25 pages long. I mean, oh my God, they say the same thing. Addendums that already say what's in the contract.
right.
Like at some point, we need to blow this shit up. No, we need to go back to like common sense and say, okay, is this already written? Is it even relevant? Or are we just doing shit to pretend that we're doing stuff?
No, I agree on that. I think, yeah, sometimes our contracts scare people off. Like I just had a friend of mine lose a FISBO because the contract was 5 pages long, and they were like, it's too complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. I think we're going to have to call this one an end. This is an interesting one because, I don't know. I am sure there are pros and cons to both of these. I'm just not feeling like there's one answer to this. I don't know. Do you think there was a knockout today, or did Jen and I just both knock each other in the head?
I feel like we bumped heads and just hit and just like went back. Like,
right. How do you guys feel about this topic? Go to our Facebook page. That's Toe to Toe Podcast Facebook page. And who do you think won? What do you guys think? Are you in an attorney state? Let us know how you feel about this subject. We're interested.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed the battle. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share any ideas that you have. And as always, if you'd like to learn more about EXP and any benefits, feel free to text me or call me 513-400-1691.
By the way, Jen, did you hear that EXP has started a transaction coordinator division?
No, what do you mean?
EXP?
Oh, they like have people that are doing it? That's great.
Contract to close. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we'll still use ours.
Yeah, I know. But like for some people in that interim where they don't need a full-time one, or
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No, I think it's great. That's awesome. They're always doing stuff to help us.
They are always doing stuff like that. All right. See you next time.
Bye, Monica.
Bye.